Hey guys, welcome to episode 14 of that Indie Talk podcast. Today's guest is Cleo Albertus, a trail runner from Cape Town but now living in Johannesburg. Please enjoy this episode and also don't forget to subscribe. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, okay. Do you have something to drink? Because apparently you can't have a live without something to drink.
Does Bonacqua water count?
I actually have water and coffee with me at the moment. So yes, it does. Actually, water is exactly what you need. To everybody that's joining this live, welcome to that indie podcast. This is episode 14. There are more episodes on YouTube, and very soon there will be audio only podcasts, so you can listen to them while you drive or while you're exercising, so you don't have to look at your screen the whole time. Today's guest is Cleo. She is a trail runner and road runner from Cape Town who has recently moved to Joburg. And yeah, we're going to talk to her and find out a little bit more about her adventures running in Cape Town, in Joburg, on the trails and on the road. Welcome, Cleo. So
Hi,
nice to
thank
have you in Johannesburg.
I know, my hometown, my place of birth, should I say.
How many years were you in Cape Town? Like, when did you move down?
I moved in end of 2011, so yeah, beginning of 2012. So it's
And that
about
was
how.
my year of going to varsity.
No, it was my year too. I was also going to varsity in 2012.
We're moving to a big city, moving far away from home, and you don't want to be in Joburg anymore. You want to be independent.
Yes, exactly. See what the mother city has to offer, since everyone said that was the promised land.
I was too scared to do that. I stayed home. I went to Wits and I was like, I'm not going to UCT. It's too far. I won't be able to do that.
No, man. Although I also went to Bits and I decided Bits wasn't for me, so it was time to go to UCT.
We could have an hour's discussions, hours and hours on end about Wits, but let's leave that for another day. So I gave a brief introduction about you. Is there anything more that you would like to add on to that? Who is Cleo?
Always love that question. I'm told not to say that, but I do because it's always like probably the first question that comes up, like who are you? But yeah, no, you pretty much summed it up. I'm Cleo. I was born in Joburg and then, of course, relocated to Cape Town about 8 years ago. And yeah, I'm just someone who's like got a very dynamic personality, very positive. I like to think I'm like a unicorn. That's what I always say. Like if I was an animal, I would have been a unicorn. Um, but yeah, pretty much. I love the outdoors. I love being active. And yeah, that's pretty much who I am.
So I take it you moved down. Well, we did mention this that you moved down to go study. I think you're done with your studies now. What do you do for a living?
Yeah, so I actually just finished my master's now in January in public health and specializing in health systems. And I'm currently a researcher at the University of Cape Town in the bioethics department. But my background is psychology.
So this is a very interesting year for you, right? With COVID. So this is where your studies come into practice.
Pretty
Because
much, yes.
this is a new dimension to public health that nobody anticipated before.
Yes, even the public health individuals didn't anticipate it. So it's been quite a busy year, to be honest with you, in research.
Is this leading up to you being like a medical doctor, or you just want to stay in the public health space?
No, the dream's always been to become a psychologist. I've currently applied for a PhD in public mental health, so that might be my next year's career path. Just waiting to see whether or not I got accepted.
The PhD one is where they only take 5 students per university. Is it that one?
No, so in this case, there's different programs, but in this case, only two
Wow.
will be chosen. So no
Wow.
pressure.
Good luck with the selection.
Thank you.
I thought the 5. I think it is for your masters, right? Where they only select 5. I thought that was bad enough, but now it
Yeah, no,
seems like it's good.
clinical.
It's
That's for
more.
clinical psych. So they accept like only eight people for clinical psych. Every master's program is very different. So
So yeah, you've just finished your master's, and I'm doing my PDM right now, and my studying is just, I'm always studying, and I feel like I don't have time. But I do squeeze in time to exercise. So how did you manage all of these races, running, and being a student?
yeah, I actually often get asked that question. And so I think my response to that question is like, I've always revolved my life around exercising. So for me, it was a case of there was never going to be an excuse to not exercise unless I couldn't because I was like severely sick or I had a broken leg or something like that. But I've always been so passionate about running and just being active in general. And because I'm such a morning person, like I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning and I'm basically out the door by like 5:30, 6 a.m. So I'm like, there's always time. And I think because of that, I've been very fortunate to always be able to exercise and be active.
We are opposite, so I cannot do mornings. In fact, the other day you read my message at like 4 a.m. I was going to bed. I prefer afternoon runs. I cannot do mornings. Actually, I think the only time I really wake up in the morning is when we had races, because we'd have to wake up at like 3:30 to be in the starting pen by like 6 a.m. Yeah, I miss those days, but I don't think those days are coming back anytime soon because of COVID. But you're running. Like, how did that all start?
So I actually like started running at the age of like 15. But it was just I kind of just woke up one day. Like I think my dad used to do comrades, if I'm honest with you, and from seeing him doing comrades, it just like it kind of was like, oh well, I want to actually be able to do that one day when I'm older. And so I kind of like woke up one day and I was like, yeah, let's try this running thing. And of course, yeah, I kind of just started only with like 2Ks if I'm for like a month before I decided it was time to like progress. So yeah, I would say like it started pretty much from a young age because I was exposed to it thanks to my parents who were very active and my dad per se. But yeah, and then from then it kind of just stuck.
And have you done comrades since that time?
So no, this year would have been my first year doing the big comrades. So next year, fingers crossed, comrades will be on the cards.
But apart from comrades, have you done like any major, like hectic races, like crazy kilometers?
Crazy kilometers. So yes, I have. So I would say, I suppose, like maybe anything over 42 k's is crazy, or maybe people would say 42 k's is crazy.
42 is crazy.
But but yeah, my biggest race has been the UTCT 100 kilometers, which I did last year.
Which is 100 kilometers on trail, right?
Yes, 100 kilometers on trail.
I cannot even begin to imagine that. I think the only other race that I know that's 100 kilometers on trail is Race to the Stones in the UK. But Kim did tell me that you finished 100 kilometers on trail, and I was like, what? That's longer than comrades, and it's not even on a road, it's on unstable ground. So please do tell us a little bit more about that experience.
Oh, sure. When I think about that race, I always just smile. I've got such happy memories about that. Yeah, that race. I think prior to it, I remember doing recce's and feeling like, how the heck am I going to get through 100 Ks? Because I was suffering on every single recce. My body was just not working. And I was like, fingers crossed, please, like, come together on race day. Because, you know, you never know what happens. Like, your body can decide it's just not going to function, even though you've prepared to the nth degree.
That's true.
But yeah, like that gun went off at 4 a.m. in the morning, and like I always said, I had like three goals for that race, and like the first one was finish before the sun sets, so I would not have to take out my headlamp because I did not want to run in the dark. Yeah, the second one was do not get injured because that's my race over, and then the third one was finish with a smile on my face. And kind of all three of those goals were achieved. It just was like, it was such a beautiful run, just from keeping consistent. I think that was the key, just remaining like consistent throughout the run, like breathing, like nutrition, everything just worked. And that really happens. But yeah.
And
all the
trail
tough
running
parts
is,
I started. Yeah.
oh, sorry, I was saying trail running is very different from road running, right? Because you have to carry your own water. You don't run in big crowds because the trails are so small. And they also limit the number of participants to protect the terrain, right?
So it depends on each race that you do. Like some races are capped. For instance, like Three Peaks is capped, I think, at around 180 people. It used to be smaller, but UTCT had a massive, like it has a massive field, like running. So it just depends on the race, and yeah, and the rules and regulations.
So I take, yeah, this UCT race has been one of your best running experiences, right?
Yeah, it definitely has. More just so because running 100 kilometers is such a massive achievement,
Yeah.
and the cutoff time was 17 hours. Most 100-kilometer races you get 24 hours or more, but
Mm,
UTC has one of the strictest, cutoff times. So you are not only trying to finish 100 k's, you're trying to chase the time. And I
mm.
think to be able to do that is like it's a massive accomplishment.
What have been some of your worst experiences running?
Juice. There's been a lot. Um, Basically, I would even say like this weekend running a marathon was probably one of my worst experiences, with the heat that Joburg decided to throw our way.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Uh,
hot.
it was like really hot. But yeah, if I have to think about like one of my worst, I never like to think it as one of my worst, because I mean it's part of the like the sport. You're gonna have a good day and you can have bad days. But I think I would take it back to last year when I was doing my first puffer, in Cape Town, which is an 80-kilometer race. But it's got both road and trail running. And I think probably around the halfway mark, like 40 k's, my body just decided it wasn't going to work anymore. I'd never been able to not run, but like my legs shut down and all I could do was walk. So let's just say the
Mm.
next 40 k's was extremely painful, and it consisted of just walking and hoping I was going to get to that finish line, because and I actually just wanted to quit.
I find it very inspiring that you're saying you like your worst running experiences are not really, we can't say that they're the worst. So you strike me as a person who's got a positive spirit around them. How do you stay motivated?
Um, Sure. Yeah. When I have to think about that, like I probably would say it's passion. Everyone always says like if you find something you love, you'll never see it as a job. And that's how I just see just being active, not just running in general, but just being able to be active. It's a lifestyle, and when something is your lifestyle and you love doing it, it's easy to get up. You're willing to get up, because you know that the end result, like you're going to feel amazing. They always say you never regret a run, and I completely agree with that. You never regret a run, but you also just never regret just being active, no matter what it is or what you decide to do.
Mm, mm, mm. And the spirit you have to carry with you, whether you're going into the trails or onto the road, because sometimes it takes so much out of you to even put on your running shoes that, you know, after you've put on your running shoes, you're just like, I have to do this. It's going to be tough, but I have to keep pushing until I finish.
100%. Yep. You've got to it's like a mental battle. Like I always say, as much as I absolutely love running, like every morning I get up, I'm talking to myself. Like even this morning, it was like a double run day. And I was like, oh my gosh, in the morning it's speed. And I hate speed, to be honest with you. It's just not we have a love-hate relationship. I know it's good for me, but I don't enjoy it, but I'm going to do it. And I just had to wake up and be like, okay, I'm going to lace up. I know it's going to hurt, but it's just going to hurt for a short time. So just do it. And then this afternoon, of course, it was so hot. And I was like, these legs don't want to run. Can I find any other excuse to not run? And then I'm like, no, Cleo, you're going to lace up and you're going to get out there, because at the end of the day, when you're racing again, you're going to be like, thank goodness for that. Thank goodness I went out and I did what I had to do.
That's true. You always have to carry that spirit. And I see in your posts, you're always smiling. And, when you're running, you're not always smiling because, wow, if anybody doesn't know this, running is really, really hard. It takes a lot out of you to actually lace up and step out there.
Most definitely. I always say it's mental before it's physical. You got to overcome that mental battle, like battle first before the physical one.
That's very true. I see a bike in the background, and I do see that you're still in your gym kit. So, apart from running on trails and on the road, what other sports or exercises do you do?
So I do a range. I do a range of sports. Like I swim, I cycle. I'm still like trying to get really brave and get out on the road. So I'm mainly like on like my indoor trainer, when it comes to the bike. But as well as I do strength training. So be it CrossFit, be it high intensity functional training. Yeah, I'm well versed in all of those because I believe you do need a variety when it comes to running, especially.
That's true. You have to shock your body. I used to go to a hit gym like 2 or 3 years ago, and I never got used to the sessions. It always took so much out of me. And somebody on Instagram told me not to drink the CrossFit juice because once I start CrossFit, I'm going to be so addicted. I'm kind of debating that. But you did mention you did mention swimming, so I've recently started swimming more because the gym now is open, but I find that it's a very solitary sport and I'm still trying to find more information around it. In terms of that, have you done any races that involve swimming in oceans, swimming in lakes?
So no, actually, it's always been on the bucket list. I've always kept saying I'm going to do a triathlon. I'm going to like really, get into that three discipline sport. But yeah, I've just actually never taken the plunge when it comes to. But I have tried open water swimming. And it's really fun. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. I think open water swimming is probably tougher than running, but that's maybe just because I'm not that great at it, so it's even harder. But yeah, when I've like practiced either in the canals in Cape Town or have attempted like one of the open water swims in Clifton, it's been a very interesting experience, and I hope to get into it more. And like that's the plan for next year and going forward to tap into the triathlons.
Monsheri underscore ZA says, hey, Cleo.
Hi, I know who that is. And my
Your,
cousin's
pe-
joining.
your
Everyone
people
is
came through for you.
online. Yes, hello Lee.
You need to watch the full episode on YouTube and very
Yeah.
soon on a podcast platform, whichever one you use, it's going to be available there. Taking it back to triathlon, do you think you want to do Ironman in the future?
Oh, most definitely. There's like no question there. I'm definitely going to take it on. I always say the harder the challenge, like count me in, I'm going to do it. Like even if I have to struggle, which I probably will, but hands down, like I'm going to attempt it. When? I'm not too sure, but like hopefully either next year or yeah, in the next like 2 years. But yeah, there is a triathlon actually happening now, and I think on the 6th of December at the
When?
Cradle. Like, it's in Joburg. I'm not too sure what's actually called, but it's in the Cradle, and I think I'm just going to go and attempt that. I'm going to go do the sprint, and yeah, see what it's all about.
The sprint is a 10-kilometer run, right? And a 40-kilometer cycle?
I think it's about. I remember being a 5K run, 20K cycle, and then 800-meter swim.
Okay. I'm
If I'm
trying to
correct.
think how long an 800-meter swim is. That is like almost 32 laps in a normal swimming pool, like a 25-meter pool.
Yes, I think if I'm correct, I think it's 40 for like a K. It's like 40
Yes.
lane, yeah, 40 lanes for a K. So then like, yeah, don't ask me about maths. Like that's not my strong point. So it's just a lot of laps in a 25-meter pool. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's 32 laps. By the time I'm done with 40 laps, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I ran a marathon. So yeah,
Pretty much.
swimming is a different beast on its own because it uses your entire body.
Yes, but it's a beautiful sport, and it's definitely something I'd say as a runner, you should do it. You should get into the pool when you have the chance because it's not impactful and it still helps with your cardio, and then your ability to breathe. I think that's the best part about swimming. Like, yeah, it really teaches you how to
And
breathe.
you really need to engage your whole body, right? Because you need to think arm here, breathe out here, kick here. It's a lot. You can't sleep and swim. You really have to be awake and within that moment.
Yeah, basically, I said like my cousin's quite a good swimmer, and I kind of said to her now the other day, you need to teach me how to be efficient because I feel like I'm doing it, and like, but I just can't seem to be getting like fast. Like, that's the thing. You want to be able to at least swim like 100 meters with like in 2 minutes or less,
Mm,
actually, to be an
mm,
efficient swimmer.
mm.
But yeah, that thing, swimming engages every part of your body. And yeah, it's a technique. It's an art.
It's an art we still need to master. But taking it back to running, so you have quite a bit of experience with trail running and with road running. So I've done, I think I've been running for close to 8 years now, but I've never actually been on a trail. So here's me, if I want to start trail running, what are the basics and what should I expect?
Hmm. Well, first, I'm going to say find a group because you shouldn't be running the trails on your own. So, yeah, the first things first would be to find like a really like a group that you can run with, like for safety. Also, like, yeah, you just like with running on the road, like you need to start out slow. So you just don't go and like pick a crazy trail where you're gonna like, you're not going to be able to breathe. Most people like
Mm,
if like in Cape Town, like yeah, most people just go up Clip immediately, and I'm always quite surprised. I was like, whew, Clip's quite a toughie, It's like a
um,
so like a mountain that goes up like this. So I'd be like, start with the contours, like do the base of Lion's Head, just get the feel of what the terrain is like. Your ankles need to adjust because now you're not just running on like flat road, like you've got rocks, and if you're not concentrating, you could easily just like twist your ankle. And nutrition, carry your pack, have your water, like everything that a trail race, like the compulsory equipment that a trail race requires you to have, I say run with it because even though you might not use it, like it's always important to have it because you just never know what might happen on the trails.
mm, 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 mm. And in terms of shoes, right? Because I know there's quite a bit of difference between road running shoes and trail running shoes, but I'm not too versed on what the differences are, what you should be looking out for when you're buying your first pair of trail running shoes. What would you recommend?
So when it comes to shoes, that's quite a tricky one because everyone's is different in terms of their feet. What might work for me might not work for you. And so it is important to like try a variety. Like there's so many different brands, so I would think it's important to try like a different variety. And the difference is, of course, like road shoes don't have like what I call them glugs and grip, whereas trail shoes do have that grip. And that's just to, yeah, keep you stable and from slipping on rocks, even though you can still slip on rocks. So yeah, when it comes to trail shoes, you got to go and try it out and see what works for you because everyone is different. And so yeah, I can't recommend a specific shoe, but yeah, I would go and test it out.
But for you, what's working for you at the moment? Like, what are your running essentials?
So for me, currently, I'm like always been a fan of Solomon. I love their shoes, especially like their S Lab Ultra Pros. Like that's worked for me. But also those shoes are like you won't get a lot of mileage out of them. They really are racing shoes. So um,
Mm,
you've got to find maybe something that's more durable. But they do have those options for you. So I'm a big Solomon fan. I have tried other trail brands, but like they just haven't worked for me. I like to feel my feet on the rocks. I like to feel the rocks. Whereas some
mm.
people might like a brand like Hoka's, which are very cushioned. But they yeah, apparently really incredible shoes, which I'm yet to try. But yeah, I'm pretty much all Salomon kitted out and like versus socks when it comes to like my feet. But yeah, I like to wear a variety of different trail clothing and running clothing. So there's no specific brand that I would choose.
I've heard that the Hokas feel like you're running on clouds because they're so thick. But I haven't actually ran in them because
Yeah,
I'm
like sorry, yeah, my friend, I've got a few friends who run in Hokas. I feel like I once tried a pair of New Balance, which I feel would almost be like similar to Hokas and how they feel in terms of their look and their cushioning. And the New Balance definitely provided that like you can't feel the rocks, like things are just smooth, you can just run. But then again, I found for me that it felt like it was a bit bulky. And so
Mm.
I'm someone who enjoys a bulky shoe. I want a shoe that is just light and feels like efficient. But if you're just someone who wants to enjoy it and you don't want to have sore feet, then definitely Hokas are the way to go, or New Balance, because they do provide that like foam cushion that does protect you.
That minimalist feel that you like was quite the craze. A few years ago when I started running, you had shoes like your Nike Freeze and you had your Vibram Five Fingers, but now you don't really find those minimalist shoes anymore. They're not really that popular anymore. Do you still prefer those when you're actually running on road?
So I never ever used the Vibrams. Unfortunately, again, those shoes I think were catered to very specific feet, and my feet were just like, no, I don't want to be in those shoes. But yeah, when it comes to like my road shoes, I am still very much like I do like the formal drops, or they work in drops. So I'm either in a formal drop or like an 8 mil drop, just depending. Like if I'm doing a marathon, I do want a higher drop and a bit more cushion because I'm on the road for longer. But if I'm doing a 5K, 10K, like 15 or even 21, then I want a minimalist shoe because I'm not going to be on the road for too long, and like I'm going to be able to endure the impact. Yeah, that comes with running on the road.